It's always a good time talking Kentucky football with Kevin McGuffey from Last Word on College Football. The Cats have lost 13 players, picked up 10 in the transfer portal. We will get to that. Kevin, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me on again. It's always good to come on and talk some Kentucky football, SEC football, and whatever else might come up. So
Maybe bowl projections will come up.
yeah, yeah, probably. I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet.
Okay.
Maybe let's wait for the this transfer portal cycle, and then the next recruiting cycle, and then who knows. Maybe by I think I did one in early June last year, or like right after Labor Day or Labor Day. Let's try Memorial Day. So we might shoot for that again this year. We'll see how it goes.
Well, you bring up the transfer portal. What I didn't necessarily anticipate, because I didn't really give it much thought until this domino effect started with Nick Saban leaving Alabama. Then Kalen DeBoer leaves Washington, goes to Alabama. Then Jed Fish from Arizona to Washington. San Jose State's coach Brent Brennan to Arizona. Is that it just starts this cascading effect that has extended the transfer portal. And now Jim Harbaugh has tacked on another 30 days to it with possible transfers. So my goodness.
Yeah, we were just, last word, we have our own little, chat messenger thing and that was one of the things that has come up recently is like, well, another coach, Harbaugh just left. So now we've got, another 30 days on this one. DeBoer just left for Alabama because it's like 30 days, right? I think once a coach leaves that players can decide whether or not they want to leave or stay or however it goes. So maybe this will be the last ones, but it is pretty crazy. What is it that I guess there's only one coach left from this year's Final Four that's still at their school, which is just pretty crazy how this is all worked out, and we'll see. We'll see how things go. So, and we were talking about this this past Monday night. If this was next year, this past Monday night, I think would have been the college football championship game because with the expanded playoffs and everything gets moved back a couple weeks. So it'll be fun to talk about that once we get there. But yeah, the transfer portal, Kentucky's been very active in the portal. A couple of these guys, I think we've talked about, headed by a couple of Georgia guys. Brock Vandegrift, he'll be the new guy under center for Kentucky this year. Played some this past season. Ironically, had his best game against Kentucky in the Dogs. I think it was 51-13 blowout. He played the entire fourth quarter, threw for about 80 yards and a touchdown. So he'll be the new quarterback replacing Devin Leary. And then you have Chip Tranium from Ohio State, who'll be basically a running back replacing Ray Davis. He had some good numbers at Ohio State, but as he talked about, the TV station that I work for, we do a 30-minute sports show. Basically, it's called BBN Tonight. It's basically a UK-centric program that airs every night at 7:30, LEX 18, shameless plug. Anyway, he was on last night and was talking about how he's never had more than 100 carries in the season, even though he's played 4 years of college football. As he said, I've got a lot of tread on my tires, and he's still left on my tires. I'm very excited to see what he can do, and I think everyone down here is going to be pretty excited to see what he can do as well. So that's two guys, like I said, replacing Leary and Ray Davis, who Ray Davis, of course, came in and had a great season for Kentucky in his 1 year here, and Leary, had some good games, had some not so good games, but overall. Pretty successful, I think, overall, coming in for his 1 year at Kentucky. So,
yeah, Tranum had an interesting journey to Ohio State and now to Kentucky because he was an Ohio high school product who wanted to play running back in college, and Ohio State did not see him as a running back. So he went out to Arizona State, played running back, and then he made his way to Ohio State, and he was a linebacker, and they flipped him back over to running back. So I guess he was right.
Yeah. He's as you said, he's kind of been he's been a lot of places and played a lot of different positions. But I think he's definitely your running back one once we hit the spring. And I haven't heard as of yet. I haven't heard anything about a spring. Like when spring practice is supposed to start, or if Kentucky will actually have a spring game this year. Because I think like 3 out of the last 4 years, for various reasons, they haven't had a spring game. So hopefully that's something that the BBN can will have to look forward to come April.
Kevin, we talked about it before we started to record that, of course, there are good players all over the place in the group of five. They go directly from the group of five to the NFL. The NFL is flooded with group of five level players. And then now with the transfer portal, we see a lot of those group of five players who were maybe underregarded in high school really show that they could play at a high level. And then they switch to a power five at some point. But so not to discount or make an obvious assessment of how good these players are based on the schools that they play. But when you look at this run of schools that Kentucky has received players from through the transfer portal, you can make a pretty obvious assumption that they've got a lot of talent, because Tennessee, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M are not messing around with guys that can't play, that don't have athleticism. Let's put it more so that way, that don't have top end potential in terms of speed, size, measurables. So they've got a lot of potential here in the transfer portal.
Right, absolutely right. You're talking about Christian Story, who's a safety from Alabama, Gerald Mincy, offensive tackle from Tennessee, who's coming in. And then, like I said, you have the 2 players from Georgia. We talked about Vandegrift, and you have Jamin Dumas Johnson, who was one of the best linebackers in college football 2 years ago, and then struggled a little bit this past year, I think maybe because of injuries a little bit. But he was a big signing day bonus that the BBN wasn't expecting. And then you throw in the fact that JJ Weaver has decided to come back for another year. They are losing Trevin Wallace to the NFL draft, but Kentucky, you talk about with Deion Walker and Deion Walker up front, Maxwell Hairston in the secondary, and you throw those guys in at linebacker. Brad White's defense should be pretty well set for 2024. It's definitely some good starting, a good starting point. But as you said, you have Raymond Cottrell, wide receiver from Texas A&M, and then we talked about Chip from Ohio State, and and then another guy we didn't mention was Jalen Farmer, who's a linebacker from Florida, who's coming in to Kentucky. So, like I said, and then they have a couple other guys. A guy I'm excited to see play is Jamori Macklin, who transferred from North Texas, and then another guy, Fred Ferrier, who's actually from Kentucky. He was playing at UAB, and he's coming in. So it's a lot of like I said, there's 10 guys coming in total, and I think pretty much every one of them could get some playing time, I think, from day one, which says a lot about the guys that are coming in.
Now, Kevin, of course, Liam Cohen has gained a lot of attention with the NFL openings here in recent weeks. And we know what his deal was that he was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Kentucky for one season in 2021, moved on to the NFL, and boom, shoots right back to Kentucky. So it's a pretty legitimate question from some reporters to say, is there a possibility that you're going to take off on Kentucky again?
Right. Is he going to be, excuse me, we always talk about one and dones with the Kentucky basketball program. That's been, ever since the season, the last couple of weeks, where everybody's been, quote, been on Liam Cohen watch, because his name has come up with four different jobs. I think the first one was Chicago Bears. Then his name briefly came up with the Ohio State offensive coordinator position. That one I don't think really turned out to be anything of substance, because obviously that one's already been filled. And then when the Titans hired Bill Callahan as their new coach, he was the offensive coordinator with the Bengals. Automatically, people started thinking, okay, Zach Taylor and Cohen, they have the LA Rams, together from a few years ago. Could he possibly move up there? And the Bengals promoted their quarterbacks coach to that job. And then the other job that his name has come up with is the Titans, because obviously you have the Will Levis connection. when Levis was here with Cohen in 2021, they had put up some incredible numbers. And then Levis, Cohen left, Rich Gangarello came in. Things weren't as good in 2022. And honestly, Liam Cohen, the 2.0 didn't quite hit like the BBN hoped back in 2021. So that's a name, that's a job that's come up. I don't know that they have any kind of relationship, but stranger things have happened in football. But I would be surprised if, I'm going to say this, and of course something will happen, I'm going to be surprised if he's not still here when we kick off the 2024 season. And I said, I'll say that, and 5 minutes from now, something will break. But anyway, so that's my quote bold prediction, I guess, for you. But yeah, I mean, there's four different jobs his name has come up with, but and he and Stoops, there's been talk that they weren't on the same page this year, that Stoops never seems to want to give complete control to the offensive coordinator. If you go back and look, since Stoops has been here, Kentucky's had quite a few offensive coordinators. Whether that's that's the reason, I don't know, but supposedly he and Stoops kind of talk things out, and everything seems to be good now. So what that means for 2024, I guess we'll find out. We'll find out in the coming months.
All right, folks, check out our SEC channel here. We have regular conversations with SEC contributors all over the conference. And of course, Kevin McGuffey at Last Word on College Football. Check out Last Word with all the transfer portal updates coming down day by day here and now, with another flood expected with the Jim Harbaugh move to the NFL.
Right. Yeah. And if you want to check out right now, I've got a couple of things up for any Kentucky fans out there. Basically, just kind of looking back at the 2023 season, we kind of did like a takeoff, or kind of, it's award season in Hollywood, with the Golden Globes and the Oscars. So we did I did a handing out awards, like team awards, best win, worst loss, all that kind of things. And then we did one that just posted today for, basically handing out offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, special teams player of the year. So if you'd like, if you're a Kentucky fan or just an SEC fan, you can come check that out and let us know what you think. And if there's something, you want us to talk about, like I said, going forward, I'm probably going to hit the, with the transfer portal. And of course, then we have the February recruiting cycle coming up. So, it's never an off season anymore, is there, with college football? So,
all right, Kevin, good stuff. Appreciate you stopping by.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on as always, and look forward to talking to you again soon.